workers gathered outside the residence of Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh in Mohali. Covid norms were thrown to the wind as a sea of protesters came together to stage this protest in Mohali. Akali Dal Sukhbir Singh Badal led this massive protest which is happening amid a raging pandemic. The protesters are demanding action by the Chief Minister against Health Minister Balbir Singh Sidhu over the alleged COVID care Fateh Kit scam. Cops are struggling to control the protest because of the sheer number of protesters at this site. Water cannons were used to disperse some of the Akali Dal workers who've gathered. The road leading up to the Chief Minister's farmhouse is being barricaded. The protesters are trying hard to push through.
वैक्सीनेशन लाई है ਉਹਦੇ ਘਟਾਲਾ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਕਿਟਸ ਦਾ ਘਟਾਲਾ ਐਸਸੀ ਸਕਾਲਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਦਾ ਘਟਾਲਾ ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਅਕਵਾਇਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਾਦਲ ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਦਾ ਹੱਕ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਕਰੋੜ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 2 ਕਰੋੜ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 3 ਕਰੋੜ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਲੇ ਦੀ ਦਵਾਈ ਪਰ ਕੈਪਟਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ 20 ਲੱਖ ਕਰੋੜਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ 20 ਲੱਖ ਦੇ ਧੱਕੇ ਨਾਲ
Well, the Punjab government has found itself in a bit of a controversy over the distribution of COVID kits. The opposition in Punjab has accused the state government of corruption and demanded the resignation of the health minister. Here's more.
Days after alleged scam involving sale of co-vaccine doses to private hospitals, another big irregularity has emerged in Punjab government's COVID scheme. This time, it is the purchase of COVID kits that is under scanner. The Punjab government has been distributing Fateh Kits to COVID patients. The kits contain essentials like oximeters, thermometers, masks, sanitizers and medicines. But the opposition now alleges a scam in tendering and procuring of these kits. The state government had floated 3 tenders in a month to procure over 2 lakh COVID kits. The first tender was floated on April 3rd to buy 16,668 kits at 837 rupees per kit. The second tender was floated on April 20th to buy 50,000 kits at 1,226 rupees per kit. The third purchase was carried out on May 7th to buy 1.50 lakh kits at 1,338 rupees per kit. The Punjab government spent 20 crores on these kits, but the 3 different price scales and revised tenders have raised suspicion. Not just that, investigations carried out by India Today revealed that while at least 3 items like doxycycline and levocetirizine listed in Fateh Kit were missing, the MRP on several items was inflated.
And the tenders of these kits were revised as much as 3 times. First tender was floated for 838 rupees. Second tender was floated for 1,226 rupees. And third tender, 1,338 rupees. So same items, same brands, same medicines were given to the patients, but the tenders were revised 3 times, which raised doubts about the purchases.
It has been found that the MRP of digital thermometer in the kit was 350 rupees, while the market price stood at 100 rupees. A steamer in the kit cost 699 rupees against the market price of 145 rupees. India Today also verified the cost of the medicines with chemist shops.
मेरे मुताबिक अब प्रोडक्शन लेवल बढ़ गया, सबने अपनी प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा दी है, कंपनियों ने खरीद फरोख्त कर ली है, तो उसके कारण इजीली अवेलेबल है हर चीज़ मार्केट में. कोई दवा, कोई मास्क, कोई सर्जिकल आइटम, किसी चीज़ की शॉर्टेज नहीं है, कोई इन्फ्लेटेड प्राइस पे भी नहीं बिक रही है.
The opposition is now gunning for the Punjab government.
इसमें स्पष्ट दिखता है कि बड़ी पैमाने पर धांधली हुई है, भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है और हम डिमांड करते हैं कि इसकी सीबीआई जांच हो और सेहत मंत्री अपना इस्तीफा दे।
Under fire, the Punjab government says it will clarify only in court.
कोई इदां दी गल नहीं, सिर्फ सियासी जिहड़ी सोच खातर लोग इदां दा रौला पा रहे ने, जिहड़ा कोई गलत है। असीं रिप्लाई देंगे, हर चीज़ का हर पॉइंट का असीं जवाब देंगे, आपके सामने आ जाएगा क्या हुआ, सब ठीक ठाक हुआ, कोई ऐसा गलत कुछ नहीं हुआ।
First, the Covaxin private hospital scam, and now the alleged irregularities in purchase of COVID kits. The allegations of profiteering in the pandemic will be hard to shake off by the Punjab government. With Manjeet Sehgal, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, as over 10 lakh students seek clarity on Class 12 assessment, CBSE is going to announce the criteria in the next 48 hours. Students may be evaluated on the pre-board marks. Class 10 and Class 11 marks may also play a key role in evaluation. Here's more.
More than 2 weeks after Prime Minister Modi cancelled CBSE board exams for Class 12 students due to the pandemic, suspense over the exam results continue. And more than 10 lakh students are waiting for clarity on the assessment procedure.
प्रायोरिटीज ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग अब मुझे नहीं पता दैट रिजल्ट किस बेसिस पर होगा. मतलब अब इसमें हो सकता है कि कुछ बच्चे जो डिज़र्व नहीं करते उनको अच्छे परसेंटेज आ जाए, कुछ बच्चे जो पढ़ लेते हैं उनके परसेंटेज थोड़ी उनके मतलब सेटिस्फाइड ना हो. सो आगे अफेक्ट तो करेगा ये करियर में, क्योंकि कॉलेज में एडमिशन्स किस बेसिस पर मिलेगी, यूनिवर्सिटीज़ वो नहीं पता. तो या
एक तो पहले तो डिसीजन एकदम से सडनली लिया गया, इतना प्रेयर्ड नहीं थे, बल्कि एक होप थी कि एग्ज़ाम होंगे, क्योंकि सीबीएसई एक बहुत ही क्रूशियल क्लास होती है, आपका फ्यूचर का बहुत मेन क्लास होती है. और डिसीजन मेरे हिसाब से थोड़ा अनफेयर था, क्योंकि जिन बच्चों ने सच्ची में बहुत मेहनत करी है उनके साथ थोड़ा सा कह सकते हैं नाइंसाफ़ी हुई है. पर उम्मीद ये है कि अब असेसमेंट आगे अच्छी हो ताकि हमारी परसेंटेज अच्छी आए, क्योंकि कई कॉलेजेस ऐसे हैं जो अपने एंट्रेंसेस भी नहीं ले रहे हैं, वो मेरिट पे ही लेंगे.
The CBSE might put an end to the students' anxiety in the next 48 hours. Sources have told India Today that the CBSE has zeroed in on evaluating students on the basis of their performances in previous exams. Evaluation will be carried out on the basis of pre-board exams as well as performance in class 10th and 11th.
12वीं का जो भी क्राइटेरिया डिसाइड होगा वो कंसल्टेंसी के साथ होगा, जस्ट एंड प्रॉपर होगा और किसी बच्चे का किसी तरह का नुकसान होने की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं होगी.
The board had also rejected reports of it following a no marks criteria to evaluate students. Remember, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia had written a letter to Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank with similar suggestions. Sisodia had suggested that 30 marks weightage be given to pre-board results, while 20 marks each be considered for class 10th and 11th results. The remaining 30 marks should be decided on basis of practical exams. The CBSE faces a big test of finalizing a fast and fair assessment formula for the students. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, let's talk about the COVID-19 situation in the country and the daily new cases in the worst hit states in India. Tamil Nadu with over 12,772 cases, Kerala with 7,719 cases, Maharashtra with 8,129 cases, Karnataka has 6,835 cases, Andhra Pradesh with 4,549 cases. Well, let's talk about the Delta variant and the Delta Plus variant. Well, the Delta variant was first sequenced in India, but some countries are now reporting a fresh Delta Plus variant with a mutation. Scientists have said there is no immediate cause of concern in India as its incidence in the country is still low. The Delta Plus variant is being reported in countries across the globe like the US, Canada, United Kingdom, Russia, among others. Though there is no indication yet of the severity of the disease, Delta Plus is said to be resistant to the monoclonal antibody cocktail treatment that is being used in India as well, among other countries. While the antibody therapy was recently authorized in India, a study identified 36 cases of Delta Plus in England. Majority of the cases were associated with travel from Nepal, Malaysia and Singapore. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced to extend its lockdown restrictions in England until the 19th of July amid the fresh variant threat. Well, there are 7 things that we know just yet about the Delta variant, and Delta variant is now mutating into Delta Plus or AY.1. The mutation in the spike protein of SARS-CoV-2. What we also know that it might just evade antibody cocktail therapy. There is no proof of higher virulence or severity, thankfully. It is found in at least 10 countries. Prevalence of Delta Plus is still low in India, as what the government has been saying. The impact on vaccine efficacy and transmissibility is being studied right now. Well, with COVID-19 restrictions easing in several states amid a steady decline in cases, people thronged markets, roads, metro stations, in many cases brazenly violating COVID-19 norms. This would only increase the country's problem in the fight against COVID-19. Here's more.
Not 100, not 1,000. Over 5,000 cars entered Shimla in just a day. Just hours after Himachal Pradesh announced relaxation of curbs after a decline in COVID case load, endless traffic jams were seen in Solan district. In the mad rush to enter the hill state in the middle of a hot summer, revelers seem to have forgotten the pandemic is not over yet.
5,000 vehicles क्रॉस की शोगी के अंदर आई. दैट मीन्स टूरिस्ट इन्फ्लक्स बहुत बड़ा है. मेरा आग्रह रहेगा कि टूरिस्ट आएँ. आपका बहुत स्वागत है हमारे शिमला में, हमारे हिमाचल में. बट कोविड अभी भी हमारे बीच में है, भूलिएगा मत. लापरवाही मत कीजिए. जो भी प्रोटोकॉल है, खासकर मास्क वेयर करना, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग, सैनिटाइजेशन का ध्यान रखना और इत्यादि, आप उनका ध्यान रखें.
The crowds are not limited to Himachal. In the national capital, people thronged markets as if there was no tomorrow. At metro stations, authorities closed few gates to restrict capacity to 50%.
अभी बस वही कह रहे हैं 50% है, तो इसलिए अब ओपन होगा, मेट्रो आएगी, अब ओपन करेंगे शायद ये.
But that did not pan out well. People in Delhi aren't the only COVIDians. These images from Indore will shock you even more. All social distancing norms thrown to the wind. Having suffered the deadly COVID wave, one would have expected citizens to learn a few lessons from the harrowing 3 months. But clearly, that isn't the case. With Kumar Kunal in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi may visit the United States later this year to have an interaction with President Joseph Biden if COVID situation remains under control. Speaking exclusively to India Today, Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, the Indian envoy to the United States, has said the likely visit is going to take place for the crucial Quad Strategic Alliance Summit.
Can we expect Prime Minister Modi's visit this year after the Biden administration has taken over Is there any conversation on a visit front by Prime Minister Narendra Modi later this year to America?
Let's just take the period of the Biden administration. As you are aware that there have been very high-level political exchanges. Prime Minister Modi has spoken to President Biden 3 times since Biden's election. Prime Minister participated in the Quad Virtual Leaders Summit and also in the Leaders Summit on climate change. You are aware EM visited the United States last month and met all the key interlocutors. And prior to that, EM had met Secretary Blinken at G7 Foreign Ministers meeting. Secretary Austin and Special Envoy Kerry both have visited India. The Commerce Minister has spoken to his counterpart. Other cabinet members, finance, energy, health, they have all spoken to their counterparts. Of course, NSA has been in touch with his counterpart here. At the Quad Virtual Leaders Summit in March this year, there was a clear decision that leaders will hold an in-person summit by end of 2021. And to your second question, Prime Minister has had a warm and a productive conversation with Vice President Harris, during which he invited the Vice President to visit India soon after the normalization of global